Welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nonsense. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy From Afar, and with me, as always, is Mr. 100% Ian Stimson and super producer Chuck Bailey.
Why do you feel the need to do it? I don't
Just
get
confuses people. Everyone knows Chuck's clearly the reliable one, and I'm the one that does all the work.
Nothing super about me.
Hey, you're driving now. That's pretty super. How's it going with the driving? Let's get an update on driver.
Why is it that all three of our teams won for once in football that we talk about, and this is where we're going with it?
Yeah. Well, I want to hear about your life. How you doing?
I drive a car, yeah.
All right, good. And Ian, how's it going with that 48 stone?
Badly, actually. I've had a bad week, and I've basically put everything back on.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of good weeks. I've enjoyed myself.
That's how it goes. Yeah. 2 good, 1 real bad, and then you just end up back where you were.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. I've been eating Pizza Hut all weekend, so I can relate.
Nice. Something competitive or non-competitive? Just training?
Non-competitive. No 92-ounce steaks.
Okay. Good.
Is that what that guy was going for? 98 pounds? Ounces?
98
ounces?
pounds, that would be impressive.
That'd be quite the steak.
That'd be quite the man.
I'm surprised they'd have a food challenge like that in England. That felt very American. For our listeners that don't know, someone that we know knows someone who went for like a 96-ounce steak challenge in Bristol, of all places.
Yeah. No, there is a chain of places called Man vs. Food.
Oh.
Oh yeah, there was one near. There was one near Skye actually. I never frequented. I was always a bit scared of it, but.
Yeah.
Well, you would have ended up 50 stone at that rate. You know, you got to be careful with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this is it.
Time. All right, well, let's get to it. Enough with the banter. Have I thoroughly sated all our listeners to pretend that we're all like normal people? Are we ready to do the thing we get paid the big bucks to do?
Oh, the huge bucks. Dripping in Lamborghinis, I am.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get started as we always do with our rapid fire news. Gentlemen, as Chuck alluded to earlier, the biggest and only news story this week, because fuck rapid fire news, all 3 of our teams won!
Yes! The Miles Offside treble. It never happens.
It never happens. As rare as the tooth of a hen.
Gross, but okay. Yeah, so fuck the news stories. There was something about Ronaldinho with a passport, real sad, more coronavirus stuff, whatever. I want to hear about the posh. I want to hear about Palace. I want to talk about Chelsea. I want us to have an extra half hour to just revel in our happiness and glory. It's about fucking time. So let's start off with League One. Ian, take it away. How did the posh get on this week?
Yes, so that was a crunch game against Portsmouth. At home, we won 2-0.
Was it 2-0 in the end? I thought it was 1-0.
No, it was 2-0 in the end. The goal that I posted on the Twitter account was the second goal, the most Route 1 goal you've ever seen, where the keeper just boots it the whole way up the field. It bounces once, Tony, his only touch, puts it in the goal. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, that was a really important one, as I said to you guys, and that puts us up to 4th. Everyone from 4th to 8th is on 59 points.
Wow.
So it is tight as a gnat's chuff. And yeah, I mean, we really needed that win. I think then you've got 9th is, I can't remember now, Doncaster or someone, and they're a couple of points off, and then it's down to Ipswich, who have played 2 more games and are well off the pace. So yeah, it's anyone from 9th upwards can still finish in the playoffs. It's so tight.
Well, there might be 9 other teams in and around that conversation, but you'll be happy to know I have the 538 numbers pulled up in front of me.
Oh, go. I'm excited.
Mr. Stimson, other than Coventry City. Coventry? How do you guys say
Coventry, you were right, yep.
You said it like a New Englander.
I know. I've been here enough years now that it's fucking rubbing off on me. But other than Coventry, you guys have the highest percentage to get promoted.
Really? Above, because who else is it? Rotherham are in 2nd, aren't they?
Yeah, they're also on 40%.
Oh, okay.
You guys, Rotherham and Oxford are all at about 40%. Oxford on 39.
Okay.
For straight promotion, you guys are 60% to make the playoffs.
Blimey. Okay, that's higher than I might have thought. It's just so tight. I don't know how to call it. And there's some good teams around there as well. That's the other thing. Like, Portsmouth always feel like they should be higher than League One. You know, Sunderland feel like they should be higher than League One. You know, they all feel like big teams.
We've had that feeling about Portsmouth for about 5 years now.
That is true.
And so I think if that's the case and they still can't get out of League One...
You're absolutely right.
Their level probably is League One now.
Yeah,
100%. But I've seen them play in the Premier League, and it's a struggle to get over that, you know.
Yeah.
Peterborough have never been close.
Sunderland I've never had that issue with. They've always been a League One team to be.
Playing above their station, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you also have the opposite bias too, where you're like not inclined to think of Pasha as one of those good teams, but you are one of the good teams right there. Like you're like, oh, there's other good teams. Like, no. You're one of the best teams in that conversation.
Definitely. We are in League One, but it's just a case of, you know, Peterborough's highest finish ever has been 10th in the Championship. And apart from that, it's been sort of relegation around the Championship. You know, we've never made that jump properly. So, while we can consider ourselves one of the better teams in League One, and we maybe should think of ourselves among Portsmouth and Sunderland and that sort of thing, it's a struggle, just mentally. It's a struggle to get myself.
Yeah.
I see Coventry and Rotherham there, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, we should be above them. But it's just sort of like, you see the odd team, and you're just sort of like, oh, and Portsmouth, you know, I spoke about it before, last season went to see Portsmouth end our unbeaten run in a terrible fashion where we just got tonked at home. So it was nice to do it the other way. And good performance by the goalkeeper, Dan Butler, our new left back, got one of the goals. So it was all good stuff.
You love to see it. All right, well that's our update from League One Island over at the Posh. Which means we can take it up to the big leagues. And speaking of teams afraid of success and not willing to admit when they're doing well, Chuck, why don't you tell us all about Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0, 0.9 to 0.5 on XG, so a pretty solidly deserved win there, Palace.
That's all right. I did kind of suspect after Watford beat Liverpool that they probably wouldn't replicate it against Palace because it's two completely different setups. Like, there's no way in hell Palace are going to attack that game because we don't. We've just won 3 games 1-0 on the bounce, for God's sake. Like,
neither did Liverpool. Hey-oh!
But we shithoused Watford. It was great. We've been physical, winding up their players, which is lovely to see, winding up their mascot, which is even lovelier to see, and he's getting all precious now, the knobhead.
Oh, really?
Harry the Hornets, he's a knob.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's renowned as being a bit of a wrong-un. And no one really likes him. And then he's had like altercations with players and tried to like wind them up by simulating diving.
Yes, of course he has.
And those kind of things. And then the Palace media team were doing a video where like they had him in the video that got shown pre-match without his like hat on. And it was just like the headline on the side. And then he's saying like that we were trying to endanger him or something like that. Bearing in mind, all over his social media is his picture and the fact that he has named himself as Harry Hornet.
Oh, fuck off then, mate.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
His real name in the bio, and then it's at H Hornet or something like that. So you're like, mate, knob off. Just trying to cry about it. But it's good. It was lovely. Jordan Ayew is the greatest player of all time. He has now scored 8 goals for the season.
Yes, please.
Just good vibes.
When's the last time you guys had a double-digit striker? Because that's plenty of possibility between now and the end of the season.
Well, player would be Milivojevic.
Oh, yeah, penalties.
Last year. Striker would have been Benteke 2 years ago.
Okay.
I think 14 goals in the league he got that year when he came over.
I thought you guys had scored like 20 goals in your entire Premier League
you
career.
You did, specifically.
451 now, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But no, good things. 3 wins, 3 clean sheets. In fact, all of us, we didn't just win this week, we all kept clean sheets as well.
Yeah, good point.
That's the really, really rare thing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything had to align for this shit to happen.
Yeah.
So that's it done for this season. So there you go. Are we going to do a 45-minute segment on Chelsea now?
No, I really thought you guys were going to want like a full 20 minutes to tell me about Palace and why they're going to finish in European spots. And
I mean, people just need to look at the fixture list and see why we're going to finish in the European spots now, aren't you?
Piece of piss.
I really hope we beat Bournemouth next week. Being part of relegating Bournemouth, that would just be...
Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Are you anti-Bournemouth as well?
He's anti-Eddie Howe, specifically.
every team on the South Coast, I think, can knob off, apart from maybe Portsmouth. Portsmouth, I'm all right with.
Okay, that's the South dealt with. The North coming up later.
Don't like anyone north of London. Don't like anyone south of London.
Don't like anyone in London.
We are simultaneously the most international and London-centric podcast I think there's ever been. I mean, really. No one outside London listens, and then California and Virginia, apparently.
There's a goalkeeper that plays for Everton called Virginia.
And one of the more famous goalkeepers for Everton was an American from, I believe, Virginia. Is Tim Howard from Virginia? Did I just make that up?
I think so. It feels like it. Howard. But anyway, all of our games that are left are against teams that are above us, pretty much. So let's look up the league. Let's go on a march. Let's go play some bin men in Azerbaijan. That's all I'm going to say. It would be typical if we finally qualified for Europe and coronavirus happens and no European competitions next year.
Yeah, see it happening.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Man City's ban is coming at the right time. Or will they make them serve it after in the after times when society picks itself back up and decides it still wants to play soccer?
Besides, people don't need to buy 200 rolls of toilet paper.
Oh, what the fuck is that about? Honestly.
I don't know. Who's shitting that much?
I mean, the three of us, probably.
Well, I can't now. I've got to ration my shit. But it's not norovirus. It's coronavirus. There's,
How many toilet rolls do you think you'd need for 2 weeks?
If
you were home 24/7, so like if you were stuck in your house for 2 straight weeks, how many rolls of toilet paper would you go through?
2 weeks. I could probably manage with one.
One individual roll?
Yeah, for me, not for the family.
Yeah. It'll be 1 for you and 8 for Kelly, because women, for some reason, it's just all the toilet paper goes. I don't understand why. Happy International Women's Day, guys.
And she's a vegan. Awful business.
What, so she eats it?
No, but she shits a lot.
Oh.
Not the joke I thought you were going to make, but okay. I thought you were like, because they use it with their makeup, or no, just she just shits a lot.
And
all the vegans make their own fertilizer, so they...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe I do go through more than one, actually. But anyway, I got my shopping delivered today, and I ordered, just because I needed one, not because I'm fucking panic buying like a wanker, but I ordered 9 toilet rolls, and only 4 came, because that's all they had.
Because they'd been nicked out of the packet? Was it still a 9-pack
no,
and 5 were just
9,
missing?
It wasn't still a 9-pack, yeah. The delivery driver was like, I'm having these away. No, it was...
he had 5 mysterious bulges in his pocket.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Just go in the shower, guys. Wash it off. There you go. Job done. It's also because people are all buying beans. If you don't buy all the beans, you don't need all the toilet roll. That's it. Simple cause and effect.
I did go to the supermarket on Monday and spent $100 on beans and rice, just in case. It could just sit in a corner for the next year, and then if I, for whatever reason, end up quarantined, there's my food for those 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
No one's going to really suffer if they go to the supermarket and can't find beans or can't find rice. I might suffer if I go to the supermarket and can't find toilet roll.
I don't think you'll suffer so much as the people in the supermarket when you make a dirty protest.
Exactly. Well, if I can't tidy myself up, I'm just going to shit here.
I'm just going to wipe it on your dress, madam.
Did you see the people in Florida getting in a fight over toilet paper?
No.
I mean, it's Florida, so,
Yeah, they don't even know about coronavirus yet. That was just a regular Tuesday.
Just something that happened.
Hey-oh. Let's start alienating American places, too. That'll go well.
We've never had any listeners in Florida, to my knowledge.
So, Chelsea, Oscar, you want to talk about Chelsea?
Yeah, 4-0 felt real good. A bit overperforming on the finishing. When Willian scores a shot like that and Mount scores shots like that, that's going to flatter the scoreline. Those were good chances, but not 2 yards out chances. So it was 4-0, but the XG had it at 2.3 to 0.4. Still a very, very solid win. Everton had nothing in this match. We just bossed them from the beginning.
Because I made the move last week when Vardy was, the team sheet came out early and Vardy was obviously not on it. Mm-hmm. And I had 10 minutes to make a move, and it was either Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Giroud. And I was very happy that had got, because he got nothing of the ball at all. Everton did not create anything to bother you at all. Nope. So I was very happy with that transfer.
Yeah, and Giroud scored 2 weeks in a row now, right?
Assist first week, goal this week. So yeah.
There you go. Returning 2 weeks in a row.
And that's quite weird because Everton have got a really shitty run coming up, haven't they? So
Have they?
yeah, they've got they just had Chelsea. They blank. Then they've got Liverpool, Leicester, Spurs. That's quite easy actually. Then Southampton, then Wolves, then Villa. So it's a bit mixed.
Yeah, it certainly starts. Yeah, that sounds like they're going to be struggling for points for a few weeks, definitely.
Yeah, and I think any last hopes of the European sort of places are pushing for those. We're done and dusted after that loss. Because 538 has them down to 1%. We're up to 80%, which is feeling mighty, mighty good. We are going to qualify for the cancelled European tournament next year.
Is that just Europe, by the way, or is that just Champions League?
Yeah, that's just Champions League. That's Champions League.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, sorry, I know I'm being a dickhead, big team elitist when I say Europe and I mean Champions League, but...
No, because I thought maybe the percentages were Europe, and so that it just meant that, you're probably 80% likely to get Europa League, and you were just hiding the facts from us.
No, I was just being a pompous asshole instead. One of the two, really. But yeah, it felt real good. We ran out two people I had never seen play before, which was really nice. One of whom I knew the name but couldn't have told you his position, and one of whom I don't think I had ever heard of at all. So we're really, really getting down to the youngest of people.
Younger.
We had three 18-year-olds on the pitch at the same time, and we've now broken our own record for the most teenagers in a Chelsea season. 6 teenagers have played for us this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I gotta say, I was very worried coming into the match because we had none of our preferred front 6, midfield or attackers. Pulisic is out. Arguably, I think Callum Hudson-Odoi would be preferred if he was healthy, but you could argue that Willian was there, so at least there's that. Mm-hmm. Tammy was out. Conte's out. Jorginho was suspended because of yellow card accumulation. Kovacic got injured on Tuesday. Ruben isn't even back yet. Our midfield to start the match was Mason Mount, Billy Gilmore, who's about 13 years old, I think, and Ross fucking Barkley. So the fact that we won at all is a miracle with that midfield.
Ross Barkley coming back to haunt Everton.
Yeah. He did have a good day too. I was getting a ton of messages on Twitter from Adam and other people that were like, all the people you hate are doing well today. How's that feel? I was like, feels pretty fucking great to be up 4-0. I don't mind at all.
You'll take it.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with Barkley getting a goal if it means we win.
Yeah.
But it felt real good. We are much like people's seasonal depression. The clocks changed back in the fall and we all got real dark and Chelsea stopped scoring and it was fun times ended. The clocks changed back today in America. Spring is here. I'm rocking my tank top and my Chelsea hat. I'm like hashtag party vibes, just at the beginning of the year.
You are rocking the frat boy look.
Yeah, exactly. Frankie the frat boy. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go. It's good times. Pulisic and Tammy and Ruben are all supposed to be back imminently. We're going to be knocked out of Europe by Bayern Munich, but that's fine. That was almost inevitable.
Yeah,
that hurts, but you can understand it at least. You know what I mean?
That's not really a shock that happens. That one of the best teams in the world beats an incredibly inexperienced team and inexperienced manager like this,
and full of injuries too. We caught them at the worst possible time with injuries. We've been having a rough go of it. I was seeing a stat that 9 of our 12 most minuted players coming into Christmas are now out and have been out for long term, something like that. All of our dudes are fucking hurt right now. But it didn't matter today. It was good times all around. Shall we talk about some other teams then, I guess?
Well, I mean, if we're going to say good times today, then, Man City had a good time, didn't they, guys?
No, but Man United have to be one of the teams in the hottest form in the league at this point, right? They've been, we were talking about, since Bruno came in, which would be approximately, the last, 5 matches since the end of the window? They have been looking like a completely different team. And I think that really came to head today against City. They won 2-0, 1.7 to 0.6 on XG, so not really a fluke of a scoreline, particularly. And they looked in control.
All year, they've been good against the bigger teams. They're set up to punch above their weight. Ollie's done the double against Man City. He's done the double against Chelsea. Already beaten Tottenham once, I feel like. Don't check it. Drew once with Liverpool. They were before Watford were the only team to take points off Liverpool this year. And that's because counter-attacking wise, they are very well set up, because that's generally when you need teams to be able to punch above their weight. And so looking at the selection and playing 5 defenders and 2 holding midfielders, and then just having Fernandes to spray balls out to Martial and Daniel James, who are both very quick, it didn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I think that's exactly the difference. Like you just said, they had Fernandes to spray those balls, whereas before that, when Pogba wasn't healthy, they had no one.
They still beat the good teams without him. But I do find it funny that they're like, trusting Ollie, like, yeah, he'll get the young players playing. And now it's like, yeah, Ollie's done really well. Ignore the fact we spent 70 million quid on this guy. Like, you still did spend a lot of money. I'll eat my words a bit, because obviously I did say, let's wait and see, because they've spent loads of money on players before and it hasn't necessarily worked out. But Fernandes, I suppose because he's already played a lot of football this year, has just kind of come in and hit the ground running very, very quickly. And he's good. He's very good to watch, and kind of links that team and takes control, because he was captain at Sporting before. Yeah, it's annoying. I want United to be shit, but but there is a sort of, I'm at the point now where it's like, fuck City. Like, I'll just laugh at them for being shit.
Yeah, that was not a good performance.
Fun stat for Adam: Man City have now lost more games than Arsenal this year. So,
wow.
In the league. I mean, Arsenal have still won the same number of games as Newcastle, but...
So, draws? Lots of draws is what I'm hearing.
13, yeah.
Stats are fun.
Stats are fun. Do you worry then, Oscar, because obviously Chelsea have kind of come back a bit? Does that make you a bit more worried? Because now they're 3 points. They're still 3 points behind. Obviously, today was quite a big win, an emphatic win as well. Like, you haven't scored more than 2 in a game for quite a while, I don't feel. But are you a little bit worried at seeing United actually sort of clicking together?
The answer to that depends on if you're on my side of the will City's ban actually have any effect next year, or on your side of the will City's ban not have any effect next year. I think they gave them 2 years so that, knowing that when it went through the appeals process, like, if it does get reduced at all, it would get reduced. They're not going to throw it out completely. They would reduce it to 1 year. So I think that was just kind of like, when you go into negotiation, you bid high so that you end up at the price you actually want. So I do think that they're not going to be in Europe next year, or in the Champions League next year.
Not how it should be with a disciplinary process, is it? It's
no,
just
but
a negotiation.
it's the reality of the world, right?
Yeah.
So I think that 5th place will make Champions League. So in that regard, I'm like almost not at all worried. I mean, if I had to put a number on it specifically, I would say 21% worried, because that's what 538 has as the chances of us not making it. Because we're at 79 right now. If it was just Chelsea and United fighting for just 4th place, then I would be slightly concerned, because they're 3 points behind us, but they're in hotter form. And we are still just at the whimsy of injuries. Like, we're just waiting for injuries to come back. So who knows how long that could be. Pulisic has been almost back a couple of other times.
For about 3 months.
Yeah, since I think the last time he played was January 1st or something like that. This time is like, it's like the most, we're getting like official stuff from Frank as opposed to just like rumors from in the know accounts and stuff. But Frank said like, oh, they're not quite match ready, but they are healthy. Him and Ruben. But again, you never know. Like, Callum just re-aggravated something in training, which is really fucking annoying. So if it was just the 2 of us, sure, but we're now, 5 points clear of Wolves, who are the next biggest threat. 7 points clear of Tottenham, 8 points clear of Arsenal. And I'm on, like, no offense to them, but I'm not even counting Sheffield in the conversation. Which is maybe unfair, but, like, whatever.
Maybe unfair, but I think at this point they don't give a shit. Like, they're on 43 points in March. Like, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, like, other than United, the only one that I'd be even remotely concerned about potentially catching us is Wolves. And like, Arsenal are talking themselves back into the conversation. They're only 1 point behind Tottenham now, but like, I think they're just putting themselves into the conversation for bringing St. Totteringham's Day back. Like,
yeah, it does seem to be that way. Like, if we talk about those, because Arsenal, I mean, West Ham had a million chances in that game, and somehow Arsenal got the win. But they're actually looking like they're kind of getting their shit together again. You know, they've had 3 wins on the bounce now, unbeaten in 5. A little bit more cohesive, whereas Tottenham Mourinho just seems to be sabotaging constantly just to try and build up that money chest for the summer.
I do think Mourinho's kind of in an impossible situation. The squad was broken and old and bad by the time he came in, and then Son and Kane being injured.
Yeah,
but they should still be better than this. Like, if you're a good manager...
I can't see a fix to that solution, and I know he's smarter than me, but I don't know that there even is a fix to that solution. I don't think he's handling it particularly well even within that. Yes. But I don't know what else they could do. They just don't have players.
Yeah, but they should still be doing better in these games.
Yeah, the starting 5 center backs was weird. I saw the lineup and I was like, what the fuck is this going to be? And it was not good. Tottenham were unbelievably lucky because cue the jingle.
Oh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week.
They got Burnley of the week against the OG of the category, against Burnley themselves. A 1-1 draw, but Burnley had 3.4 XG in that match. And Tottenham was only 1.1, so they got more than 3 times as much as Tottenham on XG.
The joint XG of Burnley and Newcastle was nearly 6.5 this week. And they scored two goals between them. And it's really confusing to my brain how these numbers are happening.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan Saint-Maximin getting a goal. Lovely.
He loves it, doesn't he? He absolutely loves it.
It's annoying, though, because there was a little glimmer of hope that Steve Bruce had been slagging him off, and I thought maybe, just maybe, Newcastle will be really shit, get relegated, and then Palace can get him, and everything will be fine and right with the world, because he is just a Palace player. He should be at Palace. He's amazing.
Yeah, instead now people are noticing, so he's going to get almost signed by Palace and end up at West Ham instead,
West
as you were
Ham,
saying.
yes.
But you're right, Steve Bruce did have a little tickle at him in the post-match, didn't he? He sort of said it was a little bit selfish.
Yeah, no, he had before that match, and then, like you just said, I saw the post-match of this one, he's like, well, he's a bit selfish. It's but then he's taking his goal really, really well. Like, well, fuck off, what is it then, man?
Yeah, what do you want? Come on, he's just won you the game, for fuck's sake.
Look at the players around him. Would you trust any of them? I wouldn't trust half of them with looking up, holding my bag for a second. Never mind with putting a ball in the back of a net.
Quite. He is the only exciting thing about that team, and it's just I'm not sure about Brucey's line of thought there. Really, he
just wants everything to be so dull, doesn't he?
He just wants
no. He's that teacher in school that doesn't want a smart kid, doesn't want a stupid kid, just wants loads of average, quiet kids that he can just make do work, and he can just sit there and exist.
Yeah.
And as he whiles away the years to retire.
It is weird. Newcastle are scoring no goals. They're sort of also conceding no goals at the minute. I mean, the Toon Army are going to be getting bored as fuck, aren't they? I mean, jeez. He's the only shining light that wants to do anything with the ball. So it's let him fucking do it then.
I don't want to move on too quick. Let's go back for a second to talk about Tottenham, because I think that is worth... First of all, who doesn't want to bash Mourinho? I know you're in on that, Chuck. But the idea that Arsenal are catching them is blatantly hilarious, because if you go back to when they first announced the ban for City, they were up to 50% to make the Champions League spots, and now they are very far away from that. They have been piss fucking poor in the last 3 weeks or so. I don't know. They're down to 10% now, and Arsenal are at 7%.
Yeah, but Arsenal have been at that percentage for what feels a long time.
Right, exactly. So it's Tottenham that have severely fallen.
So it's not so much Arsenal are catching up, it's just Tottenham have just had a nap.
Either or.
Either way, end result's the same. Eric Dyer jumping into the stands to fight fans because they slacked off his brother or something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was having flashbacks to 2004 in the NBA over here because there was a very, very horrific incident.
Yeah? What happened?
Do you not know this? Have you guys not seen this footage or whatever?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, this was the darkest times for the NBA. This was right after Jordan had retired. The league hadn't quite found its identity. It was going through a very, very defensive phase tactically. Everybody was just big and strong, but it played ugly, ugly basketball.
Right.
And there was, I forget how it all instigated. There was a fight that started on the court between players. And then someone in the stands threw a beer at one of the players. and they went up into the crowd and were just swinging.
Oh my
and basketball players are like 7 feet tall and 350 pounds of pure muscle.
Don't aggravate them.
No, it was horrifying. Like, genuinely one of the worst things to ever happen in basketball, ever. There was like a whole fucking riot. Fans were like getting knocked the fuck out by these giant players. It was the Detroit Pistons. So when I saw Dyer running up into the stands, I was like, "Oh my god, what is this going to be?" Because like
well, it's not. It doesn't sound the same, does it?
Nah, but it was classic English fighting. It was just handbags. Like,
yeah. And two, he had to get across about 15 rows of seats.
Yeah.
And it was just like, at no point is sort of like his brain kicking in and going, maybe I won't do this. No, charging on.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's like, excuse me, terribly sorry, pardon me, so sorry, excuse me, pardon me.
Everyone's just in the aisles watching him like, what?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Is it clear yet what he was actually...
No, something to do with someone insulting his brother, but...
Yeah, the first thing I heard was racism, but then that turned out to be just like totally made up.
I think that's just internet.
Yeah, that was fake. That was totally fake from what I understand, yeah. Mourinho wasn't even mad at him, though, afterwards. I don't know if you saw in the press conference.
No, he was too busy having a go at Ndembele.
No, different press conference.
Fucking hell.
In 2 subsequent ones, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
He's dug out in Ndombele. But to be fair, like, if the guy's the record signing for a club, he should probably be getting played more.
A lot of stats heads think he has an undisclosed injury that is not enough to keep him out, but, like, severely debilitating his ability to perform to his highest level.
So what he should do is injure himself.
He should for real injure himself so that Mourinho doesn't talk shit about him anymore.
It's like, Mourinho hates injured players, clearly.
He really does. That's been going way back.
Yeah.
Injured players, young players, and the rest of players. Players he likes. Scott McTominay. No, that was it. End of list.
John Terry. He and John Terry always got along.
Not when John Terry was injured. John Terry was the one himself that said he just used to walk past him on the treatment table.
Well, that's because that was his fault for being injured.
It's not how it works.
But Jose Mourinho hates players so much.
He hates his job. He hates his life.
No, this is really good. In a recent interview, he was asked about what he was like as a player, and he said, I wouldn't have wanted to manage myself.
I would have shipped him out on a free.
So that's how committed Jose Mourinho is to hating football players, is he hates himself as a football player.
Yeah, that reporter had some fucking balls on him, though, because he was like, we asked your old coach, and he said you're a lazy piece of shit prick asshole. What, do you have any comment to that? And he's just like, yeah, I was.
Yes, I was.
Good stuff.
That's 100% correct. And then he kept going, too. He's like, what would Jose Mourinho, the manager, have done with Jose Mourinho the player? He's like, fucking sold him. He's a fucking asshole.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant.
It was really funny. We'll find that and we'll tweet it out. It's a good time.
Retake the narrative.
All right, well, let's go back. Cast your minds, gentlemen, if you can, all the way back to the first fixture of the weekend. Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 1. 1.9 to 1.5 on the Hex G. Liverpool coming into this match in crisis. Off the heels of three losses in 4, right? Losing to us in the Prem, losing in the league to Watford or Wolves, one of the W teams.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Right, so they lost to Chelsea in the FA Cup, not in the Prem.
Yeah, you just said the Prem.
Watford in the league, Atletico in the Champions League.
The Champions League, there you go. Yep, that's what I meant. You got what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Just vaguely point Oscar at a topic and hope that we get somewhere.
Some words will come out. Some of them will be the right words.
The listeners will figure them out. They'll put them in the right order. It's fine.
It's like people like puzzles. People like working things out, putting stuff together.
I fucking hope so.
This is kind of like the crossword section in a newspaper. Just figure it out your fucking selves.
Yeah, what did I mean? Something.
It's cryptic and no one can edit this mess and make it sound good. All right?
I know that.
Super producer or not.
No one sold this to me as a mix between the Football Ramble and the Da Vinci Code. That's the problem, all right?
We were friends for like 2 years before we started this podcast. You knew what I was. Don't even.
That's true.
Let's go back to Liverpool, though.
Yeah.
I texted you guys right before this match, and I was like, Liverpool are going to smash them 8-0. They've got a point to prove, and Bournemouth are in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Cue 9 minutes.
And, of course, 1-0.
Yeah. 1-0. Push in the back. Fuck off. Don't give anything, referee. Don't worry about the rules. Play on.
Yeah, you didn't like that, did you? You didn't like the old shove on Gomez.
Well, it's a very conflicting game for me because I don't like Liverpool and I don't like Bournemouth. So when something unjust happens to one team, it's like, oh, am I happy? Am I sad? Am I what am I? And then Bournemouth scored and it was like, ha ha ha, this is great. But then also, oh no, Bournemouth had they might win. And so I was very conflicted. But,
why did you watch this match then? What did you want to happen? Yeah. 0-0.
I pay my subscription, mate.
I'm bloody going to watch it.
I'm bloody going to watch it, yeah. Plus I was feeling like absolute garbage, so I wasn't getting off my sofa. But it was a foul on Joe Gomez. I don't care. He was forced to overrun the ball by Callum Wilson pushing him in the back.
Like, you're 100% on that. There's not...
It's 100%. But the problem is, it's a part of a law that, well, VAR can't rule on it, weirdly. I don't think they could anyway. But then from a referee's point of view, it's subjective. So even though you can look at it and say that's clear and obvious, it's one of those muddy, clear and obvious ones that it could not be looked at again. If you see what I mean, it's right on the cusp of that.
Yeah, I don't know that I would consider it clear and obvious necessarily. I think there's enough debate there. Like, yes, he pushed him, but that's one of those, like, it doesn't really get called most of the time anyway, VAR or not. The rule is technically shoulder to shoulder, but there's always a bit of grappling, a bit of, like, arm extending out.
Yeah, that was forearm directly in the back. Like, that's not shoulder to shoulder or jostling. He was behind Gomez the whole way. He was never in front of him. Gomez slows down to play the ball, and then Callum Wilson has his forearm out and then extends into him to make him overrun the ball. And that's when he then plays the ball. But I just think you're right, it's not clear and obvious, but I think if the referee gives it, VAR wouldn't say anything to overrule that.
No, that's true. I know.
And if he doesn't give it, VAR wouldn't do anything to overrule that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's right on the borderline. You could argue this all day of whether it's a foul, whether it's not a foul. So I think the clear and obvious doesn't really factor in.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I was really fucking mad when the same thing didn't get called in our favor when it was ASP.
Right, yeah.
When I saw those highlights against that was against United, right? That's when I was in Disneyland.
Wasn't that when you got the foul given against you rather than
right,
for
yeah.
you?
Someone pushed ASP and then he fell into someone else.
He pushed, yeah. And then, that was it. That was the goal that
got disallowed, exactly.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I was furious when that wasn't given, so, like, for me to then come over and be like, yeah, it's fine, I don't think it was a foul.
Right.
Seems a little disingenuous, but, like...
Fair enough.
But you're nothing if not inconsistent when
Correct.
it comes to your own team getting
horrendously
decisions.
biased both in favor of Chelsea and against Liverpool, so it is what it is. Ian was very concerned that it might have been offside, though.
Yeah, no, I fucked up, basically. I watched it and was like, I can't see why that Bournemouth goal isn't offside. And then it was, once it stopped and you said, yes, it's clearly onside, you moron. Because the receiving player was behind the ball when it was played. But I was like, that's a forward pass, it's offside. And I was like, oh no, I'm a moron.
There was quite a few times when it was hilarious because Liverpool play such a high line and all push up very quickly off free kicks, that balls were getting played into Bournemouth attackers, and they were like legitimately six Bournemouth players offside at one time. Like right at the end, there was Callum Wilson couldn't get the ball out from under him, but it didn't matter because Nathan Ake was just offside, and then 5 other players were all massively off at the same time.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
I do feel like Liverpool seemed to have a word with themselves at some point, because when Bournemouth scored, it was like, geez, they've not tried to be first to every ball here. They're not holding their defensive line at all. It was really like, seriously, you're going to be that complacent again?
Yeah, because it didn't really seem like they came back into the game right away. And it only seemed that once Steve Cook got injured and went off, that it was then because his replacement made a couple of errors that they actually got in.
It was, yeah, you're right. It took that, I think, for him to go, oh, hang on, we're Liverpool. We should be tonking these. It was, it was very odd.
Getting riled up by that mighty atmosphere of no one fucking singing.
Oh my word, yeah.
And when was that Milner clearance? Was that later?
That was
like,
second
were
half.
Liverpool already up then?
That was just into the second half, I think.
Because if that would have made it 2-0, that would have been lights out at that point, but it wasn't.
That was one of those ones where when you watched it live, you were like, holy shit, like that was amazing. And it still was amazing, but then you see it from a different angle and you're like, oh, that was nowhere near it.
No, he did well to, at the man's age, he did well to keep running.
Yeah,
trust me.
yeah.
But,
Of course.
but he should have got there, and he did get there, and also he was possibly at fault for it happening in the first place. So.
Yeah, although a tenth of a second later, it would have been in the back of the net. So, like,
Yeah,
it was a few
absolutely. And
feet away, but like...
I am not criticising Milner. The man is a legend. I think he's
great,
quietly one of the best players in the Premier League, or has been over a long period of time.
A first ballot Beefy Boy Hall of Famer, let's just put it that way.
Beefy boy. He's OG Beefy boy.
He is. Him and Micah Richards are the Beefy Boys of yesterday.
Oh, Micah Richards was good value on the punditry on Sky. Mostly good value just because Roy Keane clearly did not like that he was there. Anything that pisses off Roy Keane is fine by me. I was enjoying Micah Richards' presence. I really was.
Is it just because Micah Richards is smiling the entire time he's on television?
Yeah,
Is that why?
And Roy Keane is anti-happiness. That's his problem.
Is he anti-happiness or is he pro-misery? It feels
Yeah,
like it's
I don't know.
maybe the other way.
Either way, though, I just hate the man. Just punditry isn't going, he's shit. Well, explain yourself, Roy. No. Oh, all right then. That's not punditry, Roy. It's not.
I mean, it's got me by for the last almost 2 years.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Justify yourself. Work it out for yourself.
Does that make me the, who's the one that's good? Phil Neville? Am I the Phil Neville of this?
Definitely not Phil.
Oh, God. No, you're not. There's no Phil Neville here. If there was a Phil Neville here, there wouldn't be a Chuck here. Let's just put it that way.
All right, well, on that note, let's just take a quick break, and we'll come back with the second half stuff, your FPL and your listener questions and all that, so stick around.
Welcome back to the Miles Offside podcast. We've been talking about our epic victories across this game week for once. So thank you for sticking with our dirty love fest. As we descend into part 2 and our usual fantasy spectacular.
Descend into part 2.
Descend.
I wonder if the listeners feel like that, or if this is pudding. I don't know.
I wonder if they do think it takes a turn, whether that's a turn for the good or don't pull at those threads. We got 34 points in this mighty double game week.
While we're doing FPL, do you want to just have just pop a digit into my hole, and we'll go early.
1 sec.
And just because we got an FPL question, we don't often get them.
What?
So I thought we'd go, and it's a new tweeter as
Who
well.
could possibly
New
want
tweeter.
my advice on FPL?
They
No,
don't
not
want
yours,
you,
Oscar.
mate.
I assumed you were going to go get a drink or something.
They want Ian's advice without paying the Patreon fee, and they want my advice because I'm the reigning champ.
There you go.
And I am on the up, baby.
There you go. So she's after a freebie then. This is Emma. She's a new tweeter at Jump the Wave on Twitter, and she asks,
Jump the wave.
what
Do you
interest...
reckon she's a surfer?
Don't know, mate.
No, they ride
Didn't
the
look
wave.
into
They
it.
don't jump the wave.
You could jump over a wave. Wakeboarding. She does wakeboarding.
Probably.
Yeah.
What interesting FPL players have you spotted for the run-in for the season that other template-inclined community members might not have noticed? She's looking for insight.
She's looking for non-template. Sounds like she wants an Oscar special, I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you want players that no one else has for very good reason, enter Oscar.
I will have you know that I got 4 points this game week, okay? A whole 4.
Whoa. Chuck was just sick in his mouth. What?
Oh, it's
Well, I got
everywhere.
16. It was minus 12, so...
Why did you take a minus 12?
For double game week players that didn't play.
Every double game week has been bad this year. Why at this point have you not listened to anything I've ever said?
I love a double game week. What do
I'm
you
the
want?
reigning champ, Oscar. I'm the best out of all of us.
Who did you get in for this minus 12?
Let's see. I sold Salah, so that was a good start.
Okay.
Very good. So already you're not just at minus 12, you're at minus 9. So that's minus 21.
Yep. Uh-huh. I also sold Tammy and Pulisic, neither of whom played, so that was a free.
Oh my god, you bought
I bought Pulisic like 3 weeks ago. He never got healthy. So He's just sitting on my team.
Dear.
So I sold the two of them, and who was the last one I sold?
Emma, stop listening, mate. She's gone to ride the
It's
wave.
good what not to do. No, but I brought in Aguero, KDB, Aubameyang, and Mahrez.
Deary me.
Oh.
So Mahrez and KDB did not start, and Aubameyang and Aguero both blanked.
Might as well not have started, yeah.
Yeah, that was my minus 12 was for those four guys.
Deary me. Okay, so we'll start with you then, Oscar. Who do you think the players who are good at this game might not have noticed?
Well, I will say when I saw that question on the rundown, I was like, okay, end of the season, big things coming up. Who has blanks? Who has doubles? Let's kind of take all that into account.
Mm-hmm.
And who has good fixtures? All of that. And this is going to sound admittedly very biased, but from looking at that, to me, the team that jumped out was Chelsea.
No one expected any other answer.
Clint Dempsey.
We don't have a blank in 34 / we'll probably have a double. We also have a double, I believe, in 37. So we have two doubles to come.
Tim Howard.
And a fixture in a week where there are a lot of blanks.
Morton Gamst Pedersen.
Landon Donovan. It's Landon Donovan.
There you go.
Oh, we were saying Americans. I thought we were just saying players. I didn't make that connection yet.
No. Tim Howard never played for Chelsea. He was United, then Everton. And I could hear the names that you were whispering in the background while I was fucking trying to go through.
You usually react. I assume your headphones just broken.
I just ignore you guys.
Fair enough.
So it was just a matter of what Chelsea player to suggest, because I think a lot of people are sleeping on Chelsea, and I do think that they're a valuable team to be picking up this time of year with the doubles coming up.
Not Pulisic.
I'm not going to say Pulisic as much as I will probably put Pulisic into my own team again next week.
For the third or fourth time.
Yeah.
This will be the fourth time he's transferred him in. Only once has it got him any points.
That's correct. Because I'm obviously not going to suggest to someone other than myself to bring in someone who hasn't played yet and who might not be back from injury as quickly as we hope. But there is someone who's been getting minutes again, who is very low percentage owned, and who is a fantasy legend when he is playing, and has had a couple of big returns, and that is the one, the only, the not good at defending but great at FPL, Marcus Alonso. So he's been back in the squad, and he scores points, and he's cheap now compared to what he used to be.
Yeah, fair enough. He was absolutely essential back in the day. And if Chelsea have amended their formation to bring him in, then, yeah, if this is going to be a long-term thing, then it's hard to argue against.
Chelsea do have really, really good fixtures as well.
Yeah, only one red fixture from now to the end of the season.
Well, two. You got Villa, West Ham, Watford, Palace, Sheffield United, Norwich, Liverpool, Wolves, and Man City to play. He just has to be one of those players, because, especially at the minute, because we've got the blank coming up, and people have probably got Liverpool. Chances are maybe two Liverpool defenders, and let's face it, when Alisson's not there, they don't keep clean sheets.
Yeah.
So you've got players like Alexander-Arnold or maybe Robertson.
Robertson, who's not even playing anymore.
Well, didn't play this week, but is looking like he'll play Champions League.
I think now that the unbeaten streak is done, they're going to start rotating in the league a lot more to keep their players fresh for the cup run, for the Champions League.
Yeah, you might be right, yeah.
Except Atletico are going to win again at Anfield, so it doesn't matter. But you just have to accept that if you are getting Alonso, you're not buying him for clean sheet points.
Yeah, they're the bonus, aren't they?
Yeah, but that was true before also, and he was still an amazing... he plays like a striker, and he gets assists and he gets goals.
That's where you're getting your points. Chelsea have kept 6 clean sheets this season. That's all, so...
Okay. So it is for the attacking points.
Yeah.
Chuck, you got any suggestions, Chuck?
How many did you want to say, Chuck, again?
I did that. I felt like I mangled the first one, so I chucked in another one. Then I can make the choice in the edit.
Okay, fair. Snip. See, it's difficult. I have mentioned Dwight McNeil a couple of times. He's in good form.
He looked good against Tottenham, actually. Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, but he has looked good, and Burnley are going a bit more attacking. They don't have, at the minute, any scheduled blanks. I don't know all the intricacies. It's at that time of year, for me, where there's no point me looking at it and planning for it, because there's so many different permutations, because there's so many teams in the FA Cup still, and so many English teams still in Europe, that just give it a bit of time. Ultimately, if you take points hits, you can, but there'll be enough people that try and plan ahead, and it all unravels and goes to
100%, 100%. They always something happens weird in the announcements with double game weeks and stuff.
Always. And every double game week so far this season hasn't been good. So just be patient. That's my best advice, because it's been that way since I had my daughter. I've been patient and I've been having better FPL seasons than I've ever had in the past.
From just not having the time to fuck with your team.
Yeah, just chill the fuck out and realise it's a game, guys, all right? But Burnley have really good fixtures. So they've got City and Liverpool, but most teams do. They've got Watford, Palace, Sheffield United, West Ham, Wolves, Norwich, Bournemouth, Brighton in there. I always mix those two teams up. They're just both so shit and transient. So they've got some really good fixtures in there. No blank as well. So he's kind of one I'm looking at. 1.1% owned as well.
Yeah.
6 million. So chances are you've got a player in there. Maybe you've got someone like Sarr as well. He's possible. But Watford have got a bit of a tougher run. But yeah, he's someone that I've got in my team that evidently no one else really has that I think has got a fairly good run that could just grind you out some points in there.
Do you have the ownership and price for Alonso too, since you're up there? Since you have the numbers?
Alonso 6.1 million, and he's about 5-6% owned. Really not much at all. Okay. 3.7% owned. So
there you go. So that's another potential differential. Two differentials there. Ian, what are you going to say?
I just thought I'd go in as well because I just had a quick look. Burnley have got no chance of any blanks either in 31 or 34, so you've got a clean run with Burnley as well.
So no blanks, but that also means no doubles.
It does mean no doubles, but there's almost no variance. Let's say then, so you're definitely going to get it's someone you can get in who's going to be safe.
Yeah, everyone worries about having 15 double game week players, and
you don't need to worry about it.
Ultimately, by like the law of averages, if you have more entries in a raffle, you've got more chances to win. But
yeah, I get it, but yeah, it's not the be all and end all.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does also depend on the chip situation too, because if you're free hitting in 31, then you don't have to worry about those blanks. So that
blah 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 blah. Exactly. So many permutations, but just Ian, what's yours?
So yeah, you asked me what my choice would be, and it's a bit weird. But
that's what this is about.
Yeah, mine is West Ham's Antonio.
Ooh.
Okay, that's a lot weird.
That is a lot weird. I'm aware of that. Yeah, his ownership is under 1%. But it was a tricky one because against Arsenal, he did spunk a very easy chance.
Yeah.
But he was always involved in their attacking play. Where West Ham are concerned, he's got the best XG per 90 for players who have played like more than 4 games, more than 4 appearances.
Yeah.
So his XG per 90 is 0.47, so he should have scored in every other game that he played.
Wow. My little heart just grew about 4 sizes. Did you looking up XG per 90? Oh! You love it. I love it.
I think, though, there is something to be said. So West Ham's fixtures aren't great in the short term. You've got Wolves, Tottenham and Chelsea. But then when you come on to their actual run-in, if you like, it's Newcastle, Burnley, Norwich, Watford, Man U, then Villa. So they've got a nice sort of last 6 games.
In terms of goal scoring, I don't think any of those are necessarily bad games because Wolves keep coming back into games. Tottenham, are Tottenham. Chelsea don't keep a lot of clean sheets.
Nope.
And then all of the others, the only good team there, Man United, they play better against bigger teams. So
yeah, and hashtag party vibes Chelsea are very much a win 4-3 every match. Like we spent all the first half of the season making that joke. It's true now again too. So
yeah, it's true. And Antonio has I've noticed the last couple of weeks he's been involved a lot going forward. Yeah. So I'm not surprised you bringing up those stats for him.
Yeah, he really has. And he's a downer on him is his price because I think he's like 6.8 or something like that.
6.9, yeah.
6.9, okay. That is hefty. So you could maybe let these couple of fixtures go and do it for the actual run-in. But I think he's going to score some decent points.
Yeah, I think you're right, attacking-wise, because they can't defend and they need to score goals to stay up.
That's the thing as well. They've got a tricky couple of games maybe now, but then they're playing for something.
Yeah.
They are playing for survival. Aston Villa have got 2 games in hand. If they win those, West Ham are right back down in it. There's mere couple of points between, fuck knows how many teams that are down there. So it's, West Ham are playing for something. Antonio's going to want to stay in the division, I would have thought.
And if you haven't quite got enough to go for him, Jared Bowen, who's obviously just come in from Hull, and he was the top scorer for them. He's kind of taken to that team very, very quickly. Them playing as a front 4 now. I think him, Antonio, Allaire and Fornals has looked very, very good. So he's 6.5. He's 0.1% picked.
Wow, okay.
Only really
even lower. You've gone for even lower differential.
only played 2 games, really, but scored against Southampton and nearly scored against Arsenal as well. Came very, very close. So similarly, he's kind of one to watch for. But yeah, don't go Snodgrass. He's out now. Done.
No,
see you later.
no,
absolutely.
Although, and if we are throwing out like really, really cheeky punts at this point, then I will actually throw like a semi-competent
You're not going
argument
Christian
for
Pulisic, no.
Because
right. So
if you're willing, can I just get this sentence out, please?
We've got 1 free transfer, and you're not getting no. It's been enough.
No. This is for the sleeper picks conversation for our friend Emma.
Enough. Emma doesn't want to hear it.
Emma might want to hear about Pulisic.
Just 1 second.
No.
Which is that he's only 6.9. And when he's healthy, which don't get him in this week, but if you are willing to wait a week or 2 for him to come back.
Don't get him in this season. He's done. Out.
He puts up Salah and Raheem Sterling per 90 goal involvement numbers.
But doesn't actually get points.
Truly elite.
But doesn't actually.
No, when he's playing,
points.
he gets points. When he's playing, he gets points. It's just because he hasn't played a lot.
But he wasn't, because he blanked for like 8 weeks in a row, and that's what made you drop him the last time.
Yeah, you did drop him. The last thing you did in our community team was drop him.
The week after you got him in. After getting rid of Zaha, who then scored a couple
of goals.
All
right, calm down, Chuck, calm down.
1 free transfer in our community team and 0.5 remaining in the bank. Gentlemen, who would like to go with their suggestion?
I can go. I'll start. After, what am I, like 3 weeks in a row that my suggestion has won? Man of the people over here, right?
I think Ian won 1 in there, but you've won a couple.
Won a couple. All right.
No.
Well, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to say we should bring in Alonso.
Oh, okay.
And specifically, I'm going to say one of the other things we talked about is with Alisson out, Liverpool's defense is significantly shakier looking.
So you're getting rid of Trent.
And we are spending a lot of money on Trent.
He must be. Here he goes.
Yeah, we're spending a lot of money on Trent, and if he's not going to be, if things have changed, potentially, / Alonso for 1.6 cheaper, 1.5 cheaper, Alonso's not going to, that frees up that funds for double game week type players up front.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going Trent to Alonso. And free up a ton of money.
Wow. That's
bold.
That's bold. But
yep, it is bold.
The logic is undeniable. I'd be surprised if the people went for that one.
Yeah, in a Twitter vote, I don't know that it'll do well.
Yeah,
but
people get wedded to players like Trent, don't they? But I must admit, I mean, I'm maybe a week or 2 away from considering the same thing in my own team, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm regretting on the wild card that I did get in Trent and Robertson in. But obviously, you can't predict for the Alisson injury.
Yeah.
So
Robertson to Alonso seems an obvious move for you, Chuck.
Yeah, but I didn't really mind it so much, and because I haven't had much invested in him, and I've had a good week or so, I can hold and
that's true.
Kind of see what's going on. It depends on my situation. Ian?
Well, I don't want to lose him. I don't want to lose the beefy boy, but I feel like
the beefy boy.
Traore's probably got to go. This shoulder problem doesn't seem to be going away. What does give me pause for thought is that when he came on, Wolves looked a lot better immediately, and I love watching him play. But you can't hang on to someone who's not going to be starting. It's not like he's sort of a 4.5 midfielder. He's a little bit more money. So I'm going to say get rid of Traore, and I'm going to go for Norwich's Cantwell.
Ooh, not a bad shout.
Norwich still, I think, believe they've got a chance. I'm not sure they have, but I think they think that. So
I think.
And Chuck thinks as well. So I've liked Cantwell, I must admit. Whenever I've watched Norwich, I've really enjoyed watching him play. I think we've mentioned before he's going to get snapped up by another Premier League team.
And the nads on the guy with that penalty against Tottenham. Penalty shootout, walking up to it, doing keepy uppies, crowds all booing you, put the ball down, bang. Hushing the crowd afterwards.
Have it.
Took a proper penalty as well. I didn't like the guy before that. No, now
all turn around.
Now you got me.
And another one in the plus column for him. I have him in my team, my personal team. So clearly a great pick.
Yeah. But yeah, I always do a dull one, don't I? But it's a bit of a slight money saver. And I think Cantwell will have something to prove the next sort of 9 weeks if he wants to put himself.
Southampton, they're going to have to go for it, and they do.
Definitely.
They don't hold back in games, so
no, he's a shop window job for me. I think that's what he's going to be doing. So, yep, Traore to Cantwell. What about yourself, Chuck?
I'm in 2 minds of players that I want to get rid of because I think Danny Ings and Southampton have just gone full off the boil.
Yeah, true.
But also, Spurs are really shit.
Yes.
So you're thinking getting rid of Mora?
Yeah. Mora. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, we'll hang on to Ings for one more week. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to say get rid of Lucas Moura.
Yep.
And then based on what we said, let's take a punt because we then lose a player that would be playing in 31. So
do we need to make it? Well, I suppose we've got to put it out to the community, but I've sort of assumed we might be free hitting 31.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, I mean, we've at the minute, I think we've got like 10 players that can play.
So maybe we free hit one of the doubles.
We'll see. We'll see where we're fixed next week then. Okay, go on then.
I'm going to say Lucas Moura out for Jared Bowen.
Wow.
Let's go with that. He looks very good attacking. Also listed as a midfielder, which is strange because he pretty much plays as a striker. And we get an extra 0.6, so that puts us up to 1.1 in the bank. Get an attacking team. Get rid of a player who isn't playing for a team who doesn't play attacking football.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
There we go.
Mora hasn't worked out the way I wanted in my own team as well. Ugh.
No, Bergwijn hasn't really worked out the same way in mine. It's just a bit
no
of a
Tottenham
nightmare.
players have they? So there you go.
Nah.
Okay.
How many points you got this week? Sorry, Ian.
How many points did I get? It was.
Was it more than 4?
I heard the most beautiful and attractive and knowledgeable people on the podcast get 55 points.
That is the rumour.
So, Ian, what did you get?
55, mate. Yeah, it was 55.
55.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And the week hasn't finished. It could be upwards of
No.
upwards of 70. It won't be. I've got De Bruyne and Mendy. Fuckers.
Yeah. I also have 55 points. I have Aubameyang captain to play.
You could really punish me there.
Wait, do neither of you have Aguero?
No.
Oh, I fucking hope Aguero bangs 5 in. Just so you fuckers can eat shit. I have Captain Aubameyang. I hope that ends up 5-5 so that Ian especially can eat shit.
Especially.
For being in first place, Ian, I love you, but,
That's a shame.
I'm less scared of making you angry than Chuck.
Oscar,
You're less vengeful.
Collectively, me and Ian are 185 and 200 points exactly
200
ahead of
points,
you.
exactly.
It's all the points hits.
Yeah, I mean, you've had now 72 points hits, so that's
Is that
still,
actually all it?
Yeah, that still leaves you 110 and 130 point deficit to make up, mate. So
Yep. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right.
Maths.
I don't have the patience for FPL. I can make good suggestions for other people's teams, but when it comes to mine, I'm just like, I do like 7 transfers a week. I have no fucking patience.
Don't go with his suggestion, Emma. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it, Emma. Don't ride that wave. Right, well, we had a bit of a seepage out from it earlier, but how about we delve further into Ian's whole man? Ian's whole man.
Not sure I like the way this has taken a turn with words like seepage. It's not
that's
what I
a bit much. I gotta say.
Your intro to part 1 was, shall we pop a digit in my hole?
That's fine. That's recreational. It's lovely, but
right. Insertion fine. Exertion.
Yeah, no, okay,
not.
fine. I've not really laid out any clear rules or structure for.
No, so first knuckle is cheeky. Second knuckle is fun.
If you've hit the watch, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
Just anything that causes seepage, I'm not really,
Could have blown past it, mate. Could have blown past it by now. Now you've mentioned it thrice.
Okay. So anyway, on the Slack, you can get on our Slack by going to patreon.com. Slack? Feels like I shouldn't mention that when we're talking about my hole. If you want to go to our Slack...
With your fist.
Then
Too much.
patreon.com/milesoffsidepod, and you can get extra FPL pods. I don't let Oscar on them, don't worry, it's fine. You won't get any 4-point
We
weeks.
don't even let Oscar on the Slack.
No, he's not even on the Slack, actually.
He's not allowed.
I have a separate little chat, I'll have you know, with the Patreons for the Fantrax League on Twitter, so you're not invited to that, Chuck.
Yeah, but Adam P's in that, so it doesn't count.
I forgot you had your little draft league. Anyway, if you go there, you can donate and you can get extra stuff, and it helps us keep the pod going, because unbelievably producing this isn't free. It might sound like it is, but it's not.
Bloody capitalism. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not my fault, it's the makers of Monopoly. So, anyway, Nate Whittam, who is a producer, he produces this better than I do. He has said, Are there any exciting youngsters you are looking forward to seeing in the Prem?
So, do you guys think he means like someone who's never played and is going to play?
I don't know about necessarily never played, but there's no more context than that, to be honest, Oscar. So you can choose to take this however you want.
I'm very excited.
Are there any youngsters left that haven't played at Chelsea this year?
There's got to be a few. There's a younger McEachran, younger brother of legendary perpetual loan and prospect player George McEachran. Josh McEachran. George is the younger brother. Sorry. Poor old Joshy, the bright future of Chelsea that never did.
Football Manager 2012, I seem to remember.
Oh, really? Was he a wonder kid?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, absolutely. He was big up. Tim and Ruben actually were always the ones that were going to like be world class and play for Chelsea one day. And Ruben actually has started to. But anyway, Callum Hudson-Odoi. He started to show flashes. Bayern showed a ton of interest, so we had to pay to keep him. Otherwise, Bayern would have taken him. And I think he has a very, very, very high ceiling. It's just a matter of staying healthy and getting some minutes and getting there. And I'm very excited at the prospect of seeing him, Pulisic, and Ziyech rotating around the winger positions next season, if Ziyech plays as winger instead of a number 10.
So regarding the Bayern interest there, have Chelsea locked him into a long contract then?
Yeah, they gave him 5 years at crazy wages.
200k.
Yeah, something like that.
Pay went up by more than 6 times, I think, in one go. And he hadn't played for Chelsea yet. It was madness.
That's insane.
Well, market forces, If we want to keep him and someone else wants to pay him, we have to pay him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just mean that's insane for a kid to just be on that sort of money when he's not really made many appearances.
If he can play, he's worth it. That's the exciting thing.
Yeah.
Bayern wanted him so bad for a reason, So, yeah, that's definitely the one for Chelsea at least. Although I will say I really like Phil Foden, if he can really hit that next level, as far as young non-Chelsea players.
Yeah, it's weird that he just still hasn't really played, at all. Especially after the amount Pep went on about him. It's a very strange situation.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I playing him in the Manchester derby, although any Manchester City League game at the minute just feels like doesn't matter, does it? So I suppose I don't know, but at least it feels like giving him that experience,
Yeah.
Because that was the first Manchester derby he'd started in, certainly. I don't know about played in. I know he played a friendly, but, a competitive one.
I mean, as a fan of a team this year who have had under 21s play a whopping 7 minutes of football.
7 minutes or 7 matches?
7 minutes. That was Brandon Pierrick coming on as a sub for a bit at the end of the game.
That's it.
I've forgotten what young players are at Crystal Palace. So obviously that's the team that I kind of watched the most. And we we sold a guy called James Daly, who was looking very good as a striker. Alexander Sorloth, who was awful, is now at Trabzonspor and has scored more goals for Trabzonspor than Palace have scored this season.
Yep.
Also
Speaking of
ousted
beefy
Daniel
boys.
Sturridge. Him and Erling Haaland, if they play together, Jesus, it's going to be horrific at the Euros. He is on a 2-year loan deal. We have no option to recall, and Trabzonspor have a €6 million clause to buy him at the end. So that's very good business from us. To be fair, Neil Warnock was on Sky Sports the other day and he went, if you'd seen him, you play yourself before you played him.
Thanks, Neil.
And now he's potentially going to Trabzonspor are going to buy him for 6 million to sell him straight to Real Madrid for about 50, 60.
Right.
Good bit of business there. Well, there's going to be a fire sale on Chelsea players next season, so I'm sure you could snap up a few youngsters.
This is
from
true.
the loan army.
It's very true. There's too many names, so I can't remember who they are, though. That's the problem. I suppose a lot of them will kind of probably should filter down the leagues, etc.
Can I offer you one Lucas Piazon? Only mildly used at a steep discount.
He cannot be a young player.
No, I don't think he's 27 now.
He's been at Chelsea for 10 years, I think, on loan.
Yeah, he's been here for a long time.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I think there's a young defender for Derby who was kind of there when Frank was there last year, Jayden Bogle, who was playing very, very well at that position. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes up, because Derby are kind of firmly mid-table this year. Like it would take quite a lot for them to get into the playoffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if a Premier League team came in for him next year. So that he's kind of someone that I've kind of looked at a little bit and would like Palace to buy, because right back is kind of a position where we need, amongst others, striker, please. Although actually no, we've got Ayew now. Fuck it.
All sorted.
So yeah, Ian, are there any Peterborough? I know most of the time it's kind of buy to sell.
That was the joke I was going to make. I was just going to list all the Peterborough players. I want to see them in the Prem. Christy Pym, Dan Butler, Jay Jones, Dembele, Mo Isa, all of them. All in the Prem. Mo Isa. Ivan Toney. It's the only way we're going to keep him is if we actually get promoted. So,
well, I hope you do.
Ivan Toney will go if we're not promoted this time, but he'll go for a lot of money.
Our mate Darren McAntony rejected a 10 million bid for him, I think.
Yeah, 10 million's been rejected because whoever the club in question was, and I can't remember if it was disclosed or not, but the club in question wouldn't loan him back to us for the rest of this season. If they had agreed to loan him back to us for the rest of this season to try and get us in the Championship, then he would have taken that. But as it was, he rejected a £10 million bid, which for a club like ours is
that's huge.
Mental.
That's huge.
That is mental. But if we don't get promoted this year, he'll go for about sort of 7 or 8, I imagine. But yeah, I mean, I have no particular... I don't play Football Manager anymore. I have no particular allegiance with any club in the Premier League, so I don't really drill down into anyone's under 21s or under 18s. That sounds weird. I just deny drilling down into under 18s.
Deny it isn't weird.
Denying it is fine.
Isn't weird.
Okay, fine, that's all right then. Speaking of which, Peterborough's under 18s, you know they're managed by...
That's not what... I'm glad that's not where speaking of which took it. You're like, speaking of drilling into 21-year-olds.
It just because it came up in the quiz, Chuck's quiz that he brilliantly delivered last week.
Is it David Farrell?
No, it's Matty Etherington.
Oh.
He's managing Peterborough's under 18s. Yeah, didn't realise that. But
everything comes full circle.
Yeah. So I just want to see Peterborough in the Premier League. That's all. I don't know what I'd lose my mind if Peterborough were in the Premier League.
I'd buy a Posh jersey. Honestly, would. Like I honestly would.
I wouldn't.
Just so you know,
I'd be really happy for it to happen. I'd just be worried because of it's so rare for the three of us to get wins at the same time, right? That I think inevitably, if Peterborough came up, one of our two teams would get relegated. And let's face it, everyone knows probability-wise which team it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I just don't think all three of us could exist in that plane. But that would be good. I'd enjoy that.
Last day of the season, Posh versus Palace.
Van Arnholt, bang.
Loser gets relegated.
Later. Again? Would we have to do it to him again?
I was going to say, wasn't it Palace who put Posh down last time?
2010?
Awful. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on from this. And let's go to a question that was just too late for last week's pod from Mike McGibney. Question for the podcast.
Gibbers.
Whatever happened to circular red and yellow cards? Do you remember the circular red card that some referees would bring out for colourblind players?
I do not remember this. No, I don't know if I've ever seen this.
It's been a thing for years, actually.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever got rid of them. I don't know. I think...
No, it was never part... I don't think it was ever part of, like... referees had to have them or anything, but some referees decided to go along with it and carry a rounded edge red card or whatever it was.
There's a mixture of reasons, I think. And so, like you just said, one is potentially for colourblind players, although ultimately you would say something to the player anyway if they were off. Doesn't matter.
Like, what the Mike Dean thing?
Yeah.
What did he say to
No,
come here, off.
Yeah. Well, as the resident colorblind person, red and yellow are not ones that are confused by like 99% of colorblind people. There's probably like one specific kind, but that's fine.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's the introduction of green that fucks up traffic lights.
Right.
So, like the pitch. And then there's also the reason that it could be for black and white TVs. So when people had more black and white TVs, it was more clear.
Okay.
Because up until, like, there were still quite a few families that, like, in the 90s or so could still have...
This is going to do nothing for my image, but when I was a kid, I had a black and white TV in my room. So, yes.
Of course you did.
I knew you'd like that.
Although you guys still have asbestos, so, you know.
Specifically Peterborough, but yeah.
Not quite, with the times, the Posh.
I definitely still had a black and white TV in my bedroom when Channel 5 was released.
Oh my
because
God.
I remember specifically Channel 5 being released, barely being able to get it in black and white.
That was like
in my
mid-late 90s?
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe my signal strength was so low I just couldn't get it in colour. I'm not sure. Channel 5 was difficult to get for a while, and there was some very poor softcore pornography on late at night on Channel 5, which I may or may not have watched in terrible black and white. Anyway.
So that's another reason for rounded red cards. And also, third reason is so that the referee didn't have to look. If they are both in his pocket, referee doesn't need to look.
Another Mike Dean classic, the no-look red card.
So was it like a full-out circle, or was it just like kind of...
Like an oval. It was a proper oval. It wasn't just like rounded edges or whatever. It's a proper oval.
I mean, maybe I've seen this and I just can't place it, but like, that does
I think
not
it's
at all
still
sound
it's
familiar.
still an option. I think it's just whether referees choose to do it. But yeah, it was never sort of something they had to do. So that seemed briefly fashionable for a little while.
Can they go with any shapes they want? Could they have like a star, like a bedazzled red card? Like Mike Dean is just sitting at home crafting.
Putting sparkles and stuff like that on there.
He's got a confetti cannon as a red card. He just shoots it at people. It's like, poof, red confetti, you're off.
Oh, like a real leg breaker, and he's just there with a confetti cannon, just bang, see you later.
He do like a full Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Just have him going off all around him.
Players on the floor on oxygen.
Just touching himself.
Just making it all about him.
I'm just a sexy boy. Sexy boy.
Oh, dear.
All right, can't top that. Let's just move on. On that note.
Okay.
Clearly.
Sam Danby says, have you got any favourite movie or TV quotes?
I mean, other than Star Wars, like all of Star Wars.
All of yours, just Star Wars.
Yeah, just the whole Star Wars movie I could just recite. Obviously, do or do not, there is no try is like the go-to Star Wars quote. But for a less popular one that always stuck with me was in the really, really terrible scene at the end of the second Matrix movie with the architect, like the guy who looked like Colonel Sanders and was just like rambling, really
I
thick
fully
sentences.
checked out that film. But
Yeah. At some point in there, he says, "Hope. It's the quintessential human emotion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness." And that's always stuck with me.
Deep.
See, I like when they do the swearing in French bit.
Yeah.
That's like my favourite bit. The Merovingian is like, I love swearing in French. Nom de Dieu de putain de merde de connard d'enculé ta mère. It's like wiping your ass with silk. It's great.
I think I got a little erection then.
I know you did. That's why I did it.
It's lovely. Sam Danby comes in with another one and says, what technology do you hope is released or possible before 2050?
You mean besides Bluetooth butt plug speakers?
Yes, I mean besides that. I've already patented that. It's dealt with.
Okay.
And I've got that. That's in the works.
Have none of us Googled to see if this is a thing yet?
No, I don't want to Google that. I don't want that in my Google history.
All right. 1 second. 1 sec. Incognito.
Listeners, Ian just stood up and came back with a bottle of lotion
Bluetooth,
and a box of tissues.
Butt plug. Yeah, if I come off of the stream for a little while, you know why, guys. Bluetooth speaker, butt plug.
You're like actually Googling this.
Bluetooth speaker, butt plug, mature stainless steel sex toy.
Yes.
On Etsy. On Etsy as well. So
on Etsy? This is a homemade thing.
Supporting small business, guys.
Oh, come on. You got to do your bit.
There you go. Detachable and loud as fuck. Oh, God, imagine that round a family barbecue and you pull the butt plug out.
Or you just walk around and don't tell anyone. Just be like,
hold on.
I don't hear that music. What are you talking about?
For kinky adult anal audiophiles. ADHD music focused tail gag gift.
What?
It's a booty bounce and Bluetooth speaker butt plug.
There you go. Puts a whole new meaning to the word bootylicious.
Thank God it's waterproof. Well, there you go. We found it's a thing, guys. So, right, tick that off my answer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oscar, I'm just going to say Oscar's going to say lightsaber.
No, but I do have an answer.
Oh, okay, go on then.
Yeah. We may have talked about this before. I feel like we got a similar question on this at some point before.
We've done future tech, sort of.
Yeah, definitely.
anyway.
But one of the commercials that stuck with me the most from when I was a kid was a commercial for the PlayStation 2 that they did as like a fake ad for the PlayStation 9. I vividly remember this. Like it was around the same time as Minority Report came out with like Tom Cruise, so it was that sort of future aesthetic where everything was kind of white and whatever.
Everyone playing with imaginary boobs.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, moving things around, having a little tweak there.
Happy International Women's Day.
This guy, it basically was drugs, but like technological drugs, which I'm totally down for. This guy basically had like an orb, and he cracked it open, and this sort of red mist went in his nose and up to his brain, and then he was in a video game, but like there was no controller. It was basically like the ultimate VR. He like opened the game, and then his like...
Isn't that just acid?
Yeah, basically.
I feel like the PlayStation 9 is just acid.
Just acid.
Yeah, exactly.
Acid in a locked room with nothing in there so you can't harm yourself.
Yeah, but some combination of like super VR / getting plugged into the Matrix thing. Because I've been playing a lot of Beat Saber again lately, and I'm like, it would be so cool if I didn't have to wear this stupid helmet and I could just be in it without all the gear, you know? So that would be awesome. I just want drugs, but that are like pre-programmed so that I have this specific hallucination designed by a game developer, as opposed to just like whatever scary hallucination I'll have if I take mushrooms and then end up crying in a bathtub somewhere.
Yeah, that's what's always scared me about hallucinogenics. I've never been like, I'm not sure I trust my brain to do it.
What about you, Chuck? You want to do some future space acid or?
Just affordable housing. That would be a nice future technology I'd like to see.
Wouldn't it just? Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps if we could just keep healthcare as not having to worry about going bankrupt. Maybe that's it. Maybe just America to have people not having to decide whether they can afford to eat or go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Political.
Yeah.
I might have the coronavirus, but I cannot afford to get tested. So let's pretend it's a cold.
Otherwise, it's flying cars. Because, like, Back to the Future told us 35 years ago that we'd have them, like, 5 years ago.
Look at this, Ian. He gets his license. Now he wants a flying car.
Yeah.
Well, then you can just go over people. Or, flying cars, everyone fucks off, then I could just drive normally.
Yeah. You gotta learn how to drive before you can fly, bud. Right? That's the expression.
No, but that's fine. Everyone else can fly. No one else on the road.
Yeah.
Parking, a dream.
I've often thought that if flying cars come in, everyone else will get them, and I'll still be driving a Renault Clio to fucking London and back.
Yeah, and still be overtaking them in pandas.
I haven't got a Fiat Panda. I might go back to a Fiat Panda. I liked it better than the Clio.
You got to help them because they're an endangered species. So anything you can do, because they're not going to make by themselves. So you've got to help produce more pandas.
Mine would probably be genuinely safe, self-driving cars that I can go to sleep in.
Yeah, that's not far off, dude. Like jokes aside.
Like, genuinely go to sleep in, though. At the minute, even the Teslas, you're supposed to still have your hands on the wheel. No, I want to go to sleep. I want it to just take me to work and then wake me up when I'm there.
Well, isn't it because the lane correction can't actually work properly or something?
No, I have a friend who has a Tesla and he just uses it. And he, doesn't quite keep his hands on the wheel.
Yeah, no,
he's
I know.
not falling
absolutely.
asleep, but it does drive itself. It, fully drives itself. You're there as, a backup.
Yeah.
That's a pretty terrifying...
It is.
You got to put a lot of faith in tech.
I don't have the faith in the technology yet.
Also, don't have faith in other drivers.
No, they're the problem.
Less faith in other drivers than I do in technology. There was the similar thing happened in the 60s, 50s. I'm not sure when, but when elevators first became self-driving elevators, because way back in the day, elevators had operators. There was just a guy who sat there who ran the elevator, and he was the guy in charge of knowing how to do an elevator. And then eventually they were like, you know what? We're just going to put a chip in there and it's going to push a button and it goes. And everyone flipped out. I've seen old newspaper articles that are like, are these self-driving elevators safe? Tune in at 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one accident and everyone was like, nope, they're not safe. Cancel self-driving elevators. And it's like, yeah, but there was 10 accidents last week of the human-driven ones. They're just not talking about it instead. So I feel like it's kind of the same vibes now.
I have a very real fear of dying before everything gets really, really good. Missing out on really good stuff. I just feel like
I think that's going to happen no matter what, really.
I think you lived through the peak of human civilization, and that was 1999. Because the moment Y2K hit, everything has just been garbage. It is getting worse and worse every year.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I shouldn't feel like that.
There aren't many years left anyway, Ian, before we're all just
you're not missing out, but...
So...
Yeah, okay, good. I feel better now. Should we do fixtures?
Fixtures! So we're recording on the Sunday night, as per usual. So we don't know about Leicester Villa, that's the one, a Midlands derby. And also we don't know about Man City Arsenal. So well done, whatever happened there. But Saturday, 14th of March, fellas, you know what date that is. Watford Leicester starts off the day. Bournemouth Palace, fuck, we got to win. 4 wins on the bounce, baby, let's go. Brighton Arsenal, Man City Burnley, Newcastle Sheffield United, Norwich Southampton, Aston Villa Chelsea, West Ham Wolves, Oscar confusion derby right there, Spurs Man United, and then Monday night is the
friendly derby.
Merseyside stuff. The friendly derby, that's it. All friends. So, those are the fixtures. Any fixtures in particular that stick out?
I mean, obviously biased, but Chelsea love playing Villa. We've had a lot of very big results against Villa in the past, including an 8-0, which is tied for our biggest win. I do love a match against Villa, so hopefully that ends up being fun and not a sentence that comes back to bite me in the ass next week.
That's on telly for us as well.
Ooh,
yeah, it is.
Look at that.
We'll take that. I think you might do very well against Villa, to be honest. I
fear Jack Grealish, but other than that...
Yeah, but that's one player, and I think he's been doing it on his own far too long now.
He needs to learn to share.
No, I don't think it's his fault. I think he's doing it all on his own because he's,
surrounded by shit munchers.
Yes, thank you. Surrounded by shit munchers, yeah. Absolutely. I think you potentially could be dishing out a dicking.
If Ruben and Pulisic play, or if even just one of them plays, I'll be touching myself the whole time. Are you kidding? Fully erect.
Oh, there's a picture for you guys.
Good, yeah. I'll probably stay off the WhatsApp group while that match is on. That's all right.
Probably stay off news as well, because that'll be... Rhode Island man caught masturbating down street. All over my Asia Cup badge.
What about you guys? What's jumping out?
Well, we got to beat Bournemouth because I hate them. But I think Man City Burnley potentially. So we hadn't talked about this. So Man City played today, and they played 2 more times before Liverpool have to play again. If Man City lose both of those games, Liverpool have won the league.
Without kicking another ball, they could win the league, yeah.
So that game against Bournemouth, they could have won the league.
And then Everton have to give them a guard of honour.
Yes.
Oof.
Well, no, Man City would still have to give them a guard of honour, right?
Well, no, because Everton would play Liverpool on the Monday night, and it would be all sewn up, wouldn't it?
With Liverpool already having won the league.
Yeah, but the last winners still have to give a guard of honour if they play, I think.
Oh, I thought it was just...
I can't remember exactly the rules on this, but whatever.
Okay.
Let's
there
face
are no rules, I don't think, but
we don't bog down in detail.
No, we never have.
But I think City might struggle against Arsenal just because of the whole Arteta thing, Pep. So if that does come to fruition, this gets to become a very dicey game. We know how Sean Dyche likes to play in these matches. He loves to spoil the party and do whatever. So I think this could be an interesting one. And it is a bit strange still that Man City at this point of the season are buried in the 3 o'clock, not going to be on TV kind of ones, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, so we'd have a dicey game.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
Ian, what about you?
Spurs Man U. I think Man U could absolutely kill them at home as well. Like Spurs are at home, and Man U could do them at the new... What do we call the Tottenham Stadium? Has it got a name yet?
No, it's still just called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Okay, fine.
Too wordy. Too many.
It is word, isn't it? Yeah.
If they could have just been called the Cheese Room.
Exactly. That would have been lovely for everyone.
The Cheese Room. Been a while since we brought that up. That's a big one for Chelsea. If Spurs can get a result, that puts us thoroughly far away from everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose you're kind of hoping for a draw there, really, aren't you? Or
honestly, I'm hoping for Jose to get one on Man United. And that would put everyone else back in the conversation to catch United for 5th, more so.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
And Jose to go back to United.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I hadn't even thought about that
Have
element,
they played each other yet?
Yeah, they have before. Solskjaer beat him when he returned to Old Trafford. It was like his second or third game, I think.
Yeah, it was early on, wasn't it? Yeah.
And that about wraps it up for this week. So thank you very much for listening. Get in touch with us on all of the socials, on the Twitter. I say all the socials, don't bother with anything else. We probably won't see it. At Twitter, at Miles Offside Pod. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks to Oscar.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Miles Offside is a Nate Whittam production.
3 in a row. 3 wins for Palace, 3 clean sheets, and for our teams this week. A good week for the Miles Offside. Beefy boys. Pow.